I like these. I like these a lot. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? I like the questions and I like the answers that we have asked you at home. And during your say, we'll see what the answers produced and what the questions were. Great panellists tonight. And these are the letters that they'll be addressing. Here we go. She thinks we're hurtling towards self-destruction and obliteration. Really? A mum writes in. Her daughter looks at the world and says, what's the point of all this? Because we're nutters. Look what we do to the planet. Look what we do to each other. Let's see what the panellists have got to say. Second letter tonight. If we project the same trend through to the next 50 years, the simple conclusion is that it's all over. What are we talking about? In spite of the royal engagement, in spite of the marriage equality vote, marriage. The trend is like that. And the last letter tonight. Young people were early and unquestioning adopters of this cheaper medium. And a few other things as well, but it hasn't all been good. Uber, Amazon. Are they destructive or are they positive? Let's see what the panellists have got to say. Don't go away. Sweet and sour right now.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Lovely to have your company tonight. A terrific lineup of guests. You know our first mate. Hello, Bid.
Hello, Mitch.
How are you, sir?
I'm well. Hey, happy birthday for a little while ago. That's the key to longevity, you know.
Do you want to know something else?
Yeah, no.
The two of us are celebrating on the same day. Yeah, we're birthday twins.
What date was that? What date was that then?
It was yesterday, but we're not going to tell you the date because then you'll know that we're pre-recorded and we run a little bit later. So, here we go. Happy birthday, mate.
Aren't we? We're
Thank you, Bid.
It's the key to longevity, have more birthdays.
Excuse me, it's my birthday first.
When's your birthday?
Remembrance Day. Not so long ago.
Oh, that's a long time ago. Hello, Bid. Hello, Margy. Happy birthday.
Hi,
How did you celebrate your birthday?
I had my family over and my mum
Lovely.
made the best pavlova you can imagine as my birthday cake. Special request.
Yeah, oh, so you decided to go the healthy route.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, I've got to say, there was one piece of pavlova left today, and I thought, still within a 24-hour period.
I'm not seeing it, mate.
Yeah, so I was like,
It's not here.
I just had that little quiet piece
Didn't bring it in.
for breakfast.
Thanks.
You can do that at your birthday.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you do to celebrate your birthday?
Well, mine's coming up, and I
Are
actually,
you a Sagittarian too?
I am a Sagittarian.
Wow, it's
Yeah,
a
I
Sagittarius.
know.
Oh, we just told you when this is shot.
Well, it's within a month's range.
Okay,
yeah,
all right, within a month.
So, yeah, I haven't actually organised it, which is really unusual for me, because I'm a bit of a Festival of Louise kind of girl.
Does that mean shoes?
Well, I might get a pair of shoes this birthday. Why not? I haven't done for a while.
What do you do to celebrate?
Well,
It was Remembrance Day, the 11th of November.
Yeah, man. My mother said that it's my birthday all month and we should celebrate all month my birthday, you know. But unlike you Sagittarians, the Scorpio's sitting over here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sting in the tail.
So it was
he's
a
sitting
nice,
on the end.
mellow day, and then not so mellow evening.
When's your birthday, Vic?
I'm a Leo.
Oh, good people. Oh, for Sagittarians, they're good people. You'll get on with these three. I don't know whether you'll get on with Louise.
We
Everyone
only
loves
meet
a
once every
Scorpio.
7 years.
Everyone loves a Scorpio.
Scorpio men are a bit hot.
Yeah, man.
Are you speaking from experience?
Well, that's what they say. They say they've got the sort of the fire in them, and then that unexpected tail that comes over. Ooh,
What do they say about Sagittarian men?
lovely,
Leo men?
powerful.
How come you know so much?
Oh, I'm interested in all that, the psychology behind it all.
Dear Sweet and Sour, we have to start the show at some point. You're in a minute. My daughter needs to see evidence of humanity's grip on reality and our responsibility for the whole planet. You see, as a science graduate, she believes we are doomed. She's astonished that we entrust the most important decision-making in society to law of the jungle politicians who haven't capacity to understand the scientific process and instead try to make progress on the basis of their own flawed beliefs or biases. Don't we all do that? Anyway, there are politicians who deny climate change, politicians who make a decision for an NBN based on old, inefficient and costly technologies already out of date, politicians who work to place new roads where marginal seats may deliver more votes. You see, she's lost faith in humankind and democracy. She sees humanity as little more than a destructive bacteria. She thinks we are hurtling towards self-destruction and obliteration. Could the panel please suggest ways that I might convince her we have a future, and a positive one, please? Gina of Sorrento in Victoria. Bid.
Gina, tell your daughter we are as young as our hope and as old as our despair. So despair doesn't make any sense. And if she's a scientist, surely evolutionary theory would say that the best minds will come up with the best solutions for the best survival of the whole group. That would appear to me to be what it says. Having said that, since the age of reason, I don't think there's a great deal of evidence that science has raised the kind of spirit of man. So I'm not sure that the answer will come from science. I think we already know where the answers will come from. It'll come from love and compassion and trust and empathy and gratitude and things like that. And amazingly, I was listening to a beautiful Todd Rundgren song just before I read this letter. So I want to read you a little bit of that. It's prescient. It says, tell me, are we alive or just a dying planet? What are the chances? Ask the man in your heart for those answers. And when you feel afraid, love one another. When you've lost your way, love one another. When you're all alone, love one another. When you're far from home, love one another. Light of the world, shine on me, love is the answer.
How are you going to top that, panellists? All right, Margy, have a go.
Just stay with me.
Oh, look, a couple of things. I mean, you know, God bless her for sort of thinking about things and being concerned, but I think cheer up a little bit, because really we all just need to be very thoughtful moving forward, but I think we're actually on the right path now. I think we've learnt from, you know, previous years and previous habits.
We learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
We've got to make a lot of mistakes.
So I think the world is actually sort of starting to head in the right direction, and I think that if we judge things right now about the future, so much can happen in between, and you know, I think we're sort of maybe worrying prematurely. So I think we need to just stick on the right path, keep being conscious and move forward and be happy.
We're a very young species. We were talking earlier, dinosaurs roamed the planet for 165 million years. We've been around for two in one form or another, and really only 150,000 years with this sort of frontal lobe. All right, Lou.
Well, I hope she gets to relax a little bit after listening to all our answers here on the panel, because we are bombarded with a lot of negativity in our world today.
We bombard ourselves.
And we just have to look a little bit further and with bigger eyes. Well, there's plenty of good happening out there as well. But as far as democracy, we do vote for the politicians, and we've got to trust them to make some decisions for us. And although they do, I mean, they have lots of input.
They're only as good as
I must
us,
admit, though, they have so much input they hesitate to make a decision. And then on climate change, you know, it has become very political. So, you know, people are mistrusting of what decisions they're going to make. But if you just look at the recent Australian of the Year awards, you know, like the Samuel Johnson in Victoria, he got awarded for the
inspirational.
For his sister, Love Your Sister campaign, and he's raising 10 million for cancer research. And Ginny's daughter might actually be interested in the New South Wales winner. She was Professor Michelle Simmons, if I'm correct, and she's a leader in scientific research, but she encourages her students to reach for enormous goals and achievements and ambitions. So, you know, perhaps Junior's daughter could put that passion and her science background into...
Look on the positive side.
Yeah,
That's all.
a good...
Last word, sir.
Oh, I'll do bullet point form. Check this out. The end of the world, the end of the world is nigh. No. If we
That's
carry
a
on the
bullet,
way
no.
we're carrying on, then, you know, we're... Do you know what I mean? If Trump does whatever he does, then we're... However, the new crew coming through is your daughter. And as long as we educate the young'uns to look after the planet, look after themselves, look after each other, like Bibb says, my man, wise, old man.
Wise.
Then the joy and what am I trying to say? The encouragement for us as a species we'll continue. But we are like a virus on the planet, and we're, you know.
We're already
We asked you at home to answer this question for us. Do you think that we humans, Homo sapien sapien, that was as a species, do you think that we humans as a species are marching quickly to cause our own extinction? Here's what you said. 89% of people said yes, we are. It'll get better. It'll get better. When we come back, we're talking about marriage again.
Ooh.
Is it on the way out? We'll see what the panellists have got to say. Don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour coming up right now.
As the Terminator once said, it is in your nature to destroy yourself.
Getting in touch with Sweet and Sour is easy. Just head to sweetandsour.net.au to send us a letter. And while you're there, why not check out our past episodes? Plus, don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And for a behind-the-scenes look at Sweet and Sour, check us out on Instagram.
And for everyone who does send us a letter, we're going to send you to the movies courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications. And the movie we're sending you to this week is Detroit, and I've seen it, and it's fantastic. Has anybody else seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
Is it good?
yeah, I really loved it. Oh gosh, I can't remember. To be honest, yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago, but it was terrific. I'm glad I went. Here we go. Letter 2, declining dose. Dear Mitch and panellists, okay, the people have spoken. Marriage equality has been embraced by the Australian population. Great. And soon everyone will have equal opportunity to marry. Has anyone bothered to have a look out there to work out what's going on? I hate to throw cold water on everyone, but marriage is going down the drain. My partner and I have 2 kids. We're not married. My sister and her partner are not married, and they also have 2 kids. Of all my friends, only one couple is married. 3 mates were married and then divorced, and while all have repartnered, not one of them plans to marry. I have no idea what the accurate stats are, but if you were to graph the marriage and divorce rates from the 1950s onwards, the decline in marriage is glaringly obvious, as is the decline in marriages staying together. If we project the same trend through to the next 50 years, the simple conclusion is that it's almost over. I believe we're witnessing the last generation of long-term marriages. Does anyone on the panel see any evidence to the contrary, or are there social changes afoot that may reverse these trends? My 7-year-old daughter asked me why her grandparents are married when her mum and dad are not. She wanted to know if it was only old people who got married. Where to from here, panellists? Alan of Burragoon in WA. Lewis.
Yes, sir.
First up, what's going on?
Well, I can't speak for the entire world. I can only speak for, you know, what I've experienced myself. And a lot of people I know that have kids aren't married. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people that I know that have kids are married. Well, no, we're going to get a lot more marriages coming through, though, aren't we, legally speaking?
Well, now we are.
There'll
There'll be a short-term bump of same-sex marriages.
Really,
A spike.
it's, you know, marriage just people say it's just a piece of paper, but legally it's a whole new world. So, you know, obviously same-sex people that want to have equality in that area, lovely jubbly. Guys don't really give a toss whether they're married or not. Girls, I mean, in my experience, girls do, because it's a lovely day and nice dress and flowers and all your family there and let's celebrate. But guys would much rather go off and spend the money on something else, in my opinion.
In my opinion.
Not saying that I'm...
Lou, let's have your opinion now too. What's going on?
Well, I've been married for 30 years. And a lot of my friends have been married for 30 years. And even our daughters are late 20s, and actually one of our daughters is getting married next year. So all their friends are getting married as well.
So would you like to say to Alan of Burragoon that he's just looking at his own situation and that's not necessarily the case?
Perhaps. Look, marriage might be declining, but I hope it's not actually.
Yeah, it's been a good institution for you.
Very, very good.
Oh, Margy, what's happening?
Oh, I think love is not dead.
Well, love is not dead.
No.
But
I
is
think,
marriage?
No, I don't think marriage is dead. I think that there's still a lot of tradition in the world, and I think people find a lot of comfort in tradition. I personally think, I don't know so much about the wedding, but I think in a relationship it's very nice if someone says, I love you so much, will you be mine forever? So I think that lovely tradition is a really strong bond between 2 people. It's not necessarily for everybody, and I don't think everyone has to get married, but I like the idea of a it. I think it's lovely. And I watch my beautiful parents who have been married forever. And, you know, love really is a beautiful circle. And I think committing to someone on that level and just going on forever and ever is a wonderful thing. So,
Gorgeous.
yeah, I don't think it's going to die. I think that there's many people who sort of see the merit in it.
Bid certainly sees the merit in it.
I have, I'm a repeat offender. Alan, wrong and wrong, mate. The rate of marriage only marginally declined in the last 25 years, according to the official figures. 10 years ago, the divorce rate was 2.7 people per 1,000. 1 year ago, it was 2.2. Last year, it was 2.1. So even though a lot of marriages sadly end in divorce, they are lasting longer than they did decades ago. So I don't understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's just normalising. You know, we came from a culture where no one could divorce to a culture that said it's okay to divorce now, and where it's really only relatively recent times that that's sort of equalised.
But we bond. The thing is, we bond.
We bond.
will
You're not going to
continue
change
bond.
human nature.
Yeah.
You're going to want someone in your life forever if you happen to fall in love. We asked you at home this question: despite the marriage equality vote, do you believe the institution of marriage is in decline? Here we go. This is what you said. Only 37% of people said yes. 63% said nope. It's going to keep going.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. When we come back, we're going to be talking about disruptive new industries. Uber in particular. Don't go away. Sweet and sour. Who's Ubered here?
Oh, I love it.
When I'm not drinking coffee, and I drink a lot of coffee, I'm watching Sweet and Sour. That's a good coffee.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
They're only precluded from marriage.
Right.
We're chatting amongst ourselves about marriage. Still. Dear panellists, Uber has been both banned and disallowed entry in many countries in the world. Uber has been challenged in the courts in many jurisdictions and has been found wanting. A new American taxi company was founded on court-awarded proceeds paid by Uber. Uber has been in Australia for a few years now and has proved to be a serious disruptor of traditional taxi operations. The taxi industry, constrained by government regulation, certainly needed a shake-up. Young people were early and unquestioning adopters of this cheaper medium, but it hasn't all been good here either. The rates paid by Uber drivers continue to drop, expenses keep going up and up, Uber keeps putting on more and more drivers without limitations, and it's making it much harder to make a dollar. I know because I'm an Uber driver. To me, it's one of those companies that bears no social responsibility, yet rakes in profits at an ever-increasing rate. It almost has zero overheads. It's an app. What good does sending all this money out of the country do anyway? Are more and more of these disruptor industries ultimately going to send us all broke? Amazon has opened here too. It won't pay tax in Australia, yet will take enormous revenues out of the country. Oh, that's rude. Can someone please tell me why we permit these companies the right of entry into this country? What's the benefit to the under-rewarded workers and the Aussie taxpayer? Anonymously from South Australia. And so, Margy, straight to you.
Well, thank you. I'm actually glad because I was chomping at the bit to say something. Look, I think, to be honest with you, the taxi industry was very complacent and they weren't really serving the public what we wanted. They were doing what they wanted. And I think all of a sudden, new kid on the blocks come in and they're doing great things. And I, for one, love Uber and I love Uber Eats and I just think it's a great thing. And anytime something new happens, everyone's all up in arms about it. You know, it tests everybody and people feel all angsty.
Very true.
But you know what? I think it serves a great purpose to the community. It's actually given the taxis a bit of a run for their money, and I think that
I feel so sorry for taxi drivers.
But that's never a bad thing that any industry is given a bit of a shake-up.
This guy sounds like he might have been a taxi driver because he said, you know, the taxi industry was constrained by government regulation and it certainly needed a shake.
Look, I'm very sorry for him if he was, you know,
taxi driver.
a taxi
Terrible.
driver and it was hard. But you know what? It was a business that never really evolved, and I think every business needs to evolve. And so this all of a sudden
It's a
new,
disruptor.
funky, you know, up-to-date, current thinking business has come onto the marketplace and it's hit the ground and running. So, you know, maybe the taxi industry now needs to look at themselves
Come
and
on
say,
in, Bid.
I can't really blame Uber. We can't blame a fresh new company. We've just got to learn from our mistakes and be better.
I think the first thing is you can't unring the bell. It's here, digital disruption.
Genie's out of the bottle.
The world's largest taxi company owns no taxis, that's Uber. The largest accommodation provider has no real estate of its own, that's Airbnb. The largest phone companies, Skype and WeChat. The world's most valuable retailer has no inventory, that's Alibaba. The most popular media organisation, Facebook, creates no media content of its own, etc. etc. You can't undo it. Having said that, it's a little bit galling that transnationals, basically company states, can shift profits and losses around so that they don't pay tax in any particular country. That's the downside of what Margy was saying. But otherwise, you can't unscramble the egg.
That's where we've got to get on the government's case, don't we?
Don't let fear
It's up to us.
run you. Yeah.
We asked you people at home this question. Uber is now banned in 32 countries. Do you believe disruptive industries like Uber are ultimately destructive to the economy? And you answered 41% in the affirmative and 59% said no. We're going straight to Louise. Uber, good experience for you?
I haven't actually taken an Uber, but I love the idea that you can jump in someone else's car and get where you have to go to quicker, and then give them a bit of a grade and go, yeah, he was wicked, or yeah, he wasn't wicked. Last time I caught a taxi, it wasn't far, and the guy wanted me to give him a mortgage instalment, right, just to get home. I went, are you serious? But then I thought, they're getting battered, they got cameras and all that jazz. Welcome Uber. When it comes to the taxis, the people that are employed in this country that do have Uber, they're paying taxis, so that's helping us out. And like my wise statsman Bib said, trend's global, mate. It's just happening. It's the way the world's working.
Way of the world.
We have to watch, but take the good and protect ourselves from the bad if we can. Lou, last word.
Well,
have you Ubered?
I have Ubered. And
Do you like Uber?
I do, and I find a lot of people who complain about Uber use Uber. Yeah, I do feel sorry for the taxis, and like New York, you go and you see the yellow cabs. It would be a shame for that to sort of disappear.
Yeah, the culture disappears.
Yeah, and the black cabs, in London, that would be a shame. But as far as companies taking out their profits from Australia, wouldn't you, if you could?
Yes.
Yeah, get it.
A company's
more
role
efficient
is to
tax
make
structure
profit.
for more profit. Yeah,
It's up to
absolutely.
us
So maybe
to
it's
try
the
and correct it.
Politicians need to close those loopholes.
We need to. We keep talking about politicians. We don't put pressure on our politicians.
Who doesn't want to pay as less tax as possible?
Well, that's right. It's and they don't have social responsibility, which is why we have to demand it happening through our government and legislation.
And we're all providing work for people, and those people are being employed and earn a living, and then they spend it. So it's actually helping our economy. Those multinationals.
The only bummer,
Maybe they
The only
keep
bummer,
squeezing down.
know.
$200,000 for a taxi license, like to own a cab, and it's just
Not anymore.
It's just
That's the sad thing.
a car that's 5 years or less old. It's got 4 doors, and you're
We're going to keep chatting about this. We've got to disappear. Thank all of our wonderful guests. Thank all of our terrific crew, and thanks for having us at home tonight, Australia. We've got to go, everyone. You've got to wait now. You don't get individual goodbyes now. We just, because we've run out of time. Because they're chatsters. What do you do? We'll see you next week.
Too much chatting.
We're going to Uber out of here now, I suppose. Yeah?
Uber Eats.
I'll give you a
We don't do shameless plugs. Good night, everybody. Here we go. Vinny was our floor manager tonight, as well as Aisling. Come in, and wave goodbye. But Aisling, come on, turn around, wave goodbye. Vinny, turn around and wave.